Okay, so you're planning a trip to Kyoto, and let's be real, it can feel a little overwhelming, right? I mean, there are literally thousands of temples and sites. But what if I told you the secret to mastering the entire city wasn't some super complicated itinerary, but just one single beautiful lantern-lit alley? Yeah. Let's dive into how this one little street is going to completely change how you see Kyoto. I mean, just listen to that. That's not just a nice little description, that's an invitation. You are now officially in Pontocho Alley, and we're about to show you how to turn this gorgeous street into the most powerful tool in your travel planning kit. So, how exactly do we get from a beautiful alley to a strategic hub? Well, the big problem with Kyoto is just its sheer scale. It's so easy to waste hours and hours just getting around on buses and trains, but there is a much, much simpler way. This right here is the big question we're going to tackle. I want you to forget about crisscrossing the city like a pinball. We're going to start using Ponchonicho not just as a place to eat dinner, but as a home base, a launch pad to conquer Kyoto way more efficiently. And this is the perfect way to think about it. It's your Kyoto Swiss Army knife. It's this one multi-tool that does it all. Every day, you'll kind of unfold a different blade to explore a new part of the city, but you always come back to this central point. It gives your days this perfect, simple, and frankly, stress-free structure. Now, what's really cool is that this whole strategic advantage, it isn't some happy accident. The magic of Pontocho actually comes from its very specific history, how it went from being just a functional path to the cultural gem that it is today. So way back in the 1670s, this was just a muddy path for moving goods around, nothing special. But then in 1712, the first tea houses started to pop up, and that's when things get interesting. The real game changer, though, came in the 1800s when it was officially licensed as a geisha district. That single decision basically sealed its fate as a center for culture, not just commerce. And you really gotta understand, this atmosphere, it's not a theme park, it's not a recreation. It's the real deal, and it's all thanks to some very deliberate, very strict preservation laws. That conscious choice to protect the alley's character is exactly why we get to feel like we're stepping back into the Edo period. Okay, so we've got our hub. Now let's talk about the spokes. This is where that whole Swiss Army knife idea really comes to life, because it connects you to Kyoto's absolute greatest hits with, honestly, unbelievable ease. This chart just breaks it down perfectly. Think of these famous districts like siblings, right? They've all got different personalities. Gion is the elegant, super photo-ready one. Nishiki Market is all about that bustling daytime market energy. But Pontocho? Pontocho is the atmospheric heart, the place with that local neighborhood vibe that you come back to every night. They all have their role, and Pontocho is your anchor. Okay, get this. 5 minutes. That's it. We're talking a 5-minute walk. That's all it takes to pop across the Shijo Bridge from Pontocho, and boom, you're right in the heart of Gion. You can finish a quiet, amazing dinner and be exploring Kyoto's most famous geisha district in literally the time it takes to tie your shoes. It's that close. Now, let's head the other way. Head west, and in just 10 minutes on foot, you are at the entrance of Nishiki Market. People call this Kyoto's kitchen, and for good reason. It's a total paradise of street food and amazing local ingredients. You can spend your whole morning there, eat all the things, and be back at your home base in a snap. And this one might be the biggest surprise of all. You know the iconic Kiyomizu-dera temple perched way up on that hillside? It's only a 20-minute walk away. Just think about that for a second. No waiting for a crowded bus, no trying to figure out the train system, just a beautiful, scenic stroll through historic streets to one of the most celebrated temples in all of Japan. All right, so knowing where to go is one thing, but knowing how to go, well, that's what separates a pretty good trip from an absolutely unforgettable one. So let's get into the pro tips, starting with 3 super common traps that you are now going to easily, completely avoid. These 3 things might seem kind of small, but trust me, they can completely derail a perfect Kyoto evening. Let's break down just how much these simple little mistakes can actually cost you. First up, visiting Pontocho during the day. So why is this a mistake? Well, the alley is basically asleep. Most places are shut, you totally miss the magic, you think it's overrated, and you wind up having some generic dinner somewhere else for probably 40 to 60 bucks that has none of the atmosphere. That's what I call a costly missed opportunity.
Next up, reservations. Okay, showing up on a Friday or Saturday night without a booking is a recipe for disaster. I'm not kidding. You will spend an hour and a half at least just getting turned away from full restaurants. You get hangry, you get frustrated, and you finally just settle for a mediocre meal at an inflated price. Poof, your perfect evening, gone.
And finally, the shoes. The footwear. This is the silent killer of a great Kyoto trip. Uncomfortable shoes don't just hurt your feet. They force you to cut your exploration short. You'll miss out on all those spontaneous little side streets. And over a few days, you could easily spend an extra $80 on taxis just because your feet are screaming at you. This quote from a veteran guide just says it all, doesn't it? In a city that is absolutely built for walking, your choice of shoes is just as important as your hotel booking. Seriously, don't underestimate it. Okay, now that we know the strategy and we know what not to do, let's put it all together. Let's see how this hub and spoke model actually works in a real, actionable itinerary that you can totally steal. Just look at how beautifully this flows. You start at Nishiki for your morning snacks. Then you just naturally move east through Gion to the temples. And then, as the day starts to wind down, you circle right back to your hub, Pontocho. You explore outward, then you return. This one day covers 5 major attractions with almost zero backtracking and zero stress. It's so efficient and just way more enjoyable. And that right there is the ultimate takeaway. Poncho Coco becomes your anchor. It's the reliable, atmospheric, wonderful endpoint to every single day. This simple strategy gives your whole trip a rhythm, and it guarantees you're always right where the magic is happening when the sun goes down. You know, the best part about this whole strategy is how flexible it is. It's not some rigid have-to-do plan. It's a framework for you to build on. So the only real question left is, now that you know the secret, what's your perfect Kyoto day gonna look like?